Picture this. A father, dressed in his crisp Marine Corps dress blues, sitting quietly in the bleachers, his eyes locked on a high school graduation stage. He's not here for applause or attention. He's here for one moment, to see his son, his pride and joy, walk across that stage and grab a diploma. That's it. Just one moment after years of sacrifice, service, and survival. But before the ceremony even starts, two security guards approach him with tight smiles and a request that feels more like an order. "Sir, you need to leave." The crowd shifts, whispers ripple, and suddenly, this father's quiet presence becomes the center of a storm nobody saw coming. Welcome to a story about respect, resilience, and what happens when you refuse to be pushed out of a moment you've earned. This is the story of Darnell Hughes, and what happened next will leave you speechless. It's a warm morning in San Bernardino, California, the kind where the sun feels like it's pressing down on you, and the air smells like fresh-cut grass and sunscreen. Darnell Hughes is up before dawn, moving with the kind of precision you'd expect from a retired Marine staff sergeant. He lays out his uniform on the bed like he's done 1,000 times before. White gloves, polished shoes, medals that carry stories of blood and brotherhood. The dress blues haven't seen daylight in 5 years, not since his retirement. But today's different. Today, his son Caleb is graduating from Roosevelt High, and Darnell's not just showing up as a dad, he's showing up as the man who's been through hell and back to be here. In the mirror, he adjusts his collar, brushes off invisible dust, and mutters to himself, "Damn, I clean up all right." There's a small smirk, but it's not ego. It's pride, hard-earned, the kind that comes from 20 years in the Marines, 2 tours in Iraq, 3 in Afghanistan, and a promise to his son to be more than a warrior, to be a father. In the kitchen, Caleb's burning toast again, the smell of charred bread mixing with overcooked eggs. The kid's a genius, top 10 in his class, already accepted to study mechanical engineering, but cooking, not his thing. "Dad, you almost ready?" Caleb calls, tugging at his black cap and gown. When Darnell steps into the living room, boots clicking on the hardwood, Caleb freezes. "Whoa," he says, eyes wide. "You look serious." Darnell chuckles. It's a serious day. They share a look, no words needed, just a father and son understanding what this moment means. Caleb's grin breaks the silence. "You're gonna make everyone else look like bums." Darnell shakes his head. "That's not the goal, just want to show up as who I am." And that's exactly what he does, heading to the football field where the ceremony's about to unfold, not knowing he's walking into a fight he didn't ask for. The field at Roosevelt High is buzzing when they arrive. Families spill across, the bleachers with lawn chairs, strollers, and t-shirts with their kids' faces printed on them. One guy's got a neon green mohawk and a tank top that says, "Game over." It's a mix of chaos and celebration, like a big neighborhood block party. Darnell finds a seat 6 rows from the back, close enough to see the stage, far enough to stay out of the spotlight. He sits alone, not because he's got no one, but because he doesn't need a crowd. His presence is enough. A few people glance his way. Some smile politely. Others stare a little too long. A woman in front whispers to her husband, who turns, looks Darnell up and down, and gives a half smile before turning back. It's the kind of look Darnell's used to. Not just the uniform, but the man inside it. He keeps his eyes forward, searching for Caleb in the student rows. His sons, out there sitting tall, gold sash over his shoulders, ready to make his mark. Darnell feels his chest tighten, not with anger, but with pride so big it's hard to contain. But then, before the band even starts playing, he sees them coming. 2 security guards, mid-30s, khakis, polo shirts with Roosevelt event security, stitched on the chest. One's got a clipboard, the other's got sunglasses he doesn't bother taking off. They're not strolling like ushers looking to help. They're walking with purpose, eyes locked on Darnell. He doesn't move, doesn't flinch, just turns his head slightly, meeting their gaze with the calm of a man who's faced worse than this. "Excuse me, sir?" The one with the clipboard says, his badge reading G. "Langston. Can you step aside for a quick word?" Darnell raises an eyebrow. About what? Langston's smile is tight, practiced. We've had some concerns from guests. Some people feel uncomfortable. Darnell lets the word hang in the air. Uncomfortable? He repeats slow, like he's making sure he heard it right. The second guard jumps in, voice low, patronizing. It's a formal event. We're asking everyone to blend in, keep things low-key. Darnell looks down at his uniform, then back up. This is my formal. The crowd around them goes quiet, not silent, but hushed. Conversations fade, heads turn, subtle but noticeable. Darnell feels it. The shift. The same one he's felt in airports, stores, even church sometimes. People recalculating who they think he is. Langston steps closer, voice lower now. Sir, if you could just step outside, we can talk in private. Darnell doesn't budge. I'm not leaving. The second guard shifts his weight, not expecting pushback. Look, no one's accusing you of anything. We're just trying to avoid a disruption. Darnell leans forward, voice steady as steel. Let me explain something. I served 20 years. Buried men. Been shot at, blown up, patched up. Stood on airstrips waiting for flag-draped coffins. Never asked anyone to make space for me. I earned it. Langston hesitates, his partner looks lost, and the crowd's watching now. Some openly, some pretending not to. A woman behind Darnell whispers, He's just watching his son. Leave him alone. Another voice mutters, Is this necessary? The air's tight like a rope about to snap. Then a new voice cuts through. Excuse me. It's firm, clear, coming from the top of the bleachers. A man steps down, charcoal shirt, rolled sleeves, military tattoos fading on his forearm. He's not loud, but he's got that presence you don't ignore. Is there a problem here? He asks, eyes on the guards. Langston frowns. Sir, we're handling a situation. Please stay seated. The man ignores him, steps closer, and looks at Darnell. Darnell? A slow smile breaks across Darnell's face. Eli Mendoza. I'll be damned. Eli turns to the guards. This man, served with me, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, Ramadi 07. Before Langston can respond, another man stands, then another, then 3 more. Veterans scattered across the bleachers, standing tall, silent, watching. The guards freeze, outmatched in a way they can't explain. Eli's voice is cold now. You think he put that uniform on for you? He's here for his son, same as everyone else. The crowd's holding its breath, and just when it seems like the tension might break, another figure steps forward. A woman, the school principal, with a tight face and a decision to make. What she does next could change everything. The air on the Roosevelt High football field feels heavier now, like the moment before a storm breaks. Dr. Meredith Fulton, the principal, stands at the edge of the stage, her heels clicking softly as she pauses, scanning the crowd. Her face is tight, not with anger, but with the weight of a decision she knows will ripple. Darnell Hughes sits steady in his folding chair, his marine dress blues crisp against the chaos of the bleachers. His hands rest on his knees, gloved fingers still, but his eyes are sharp, locked on the principal. Eli Mendoza, the Marine who stood for him, leans back in the row behind, his jaw set, ready for whatever comes next. The 5 other veterans, Wes, Desmond, Chaz, Leo, and Omar, haven't sat down yet. They're spread across the stands, silent sentinels, their presence a quiet warning. The security guards, Langston and his partner, linger awkwardly to the side, their clipboards useless now. The crowd's murmurs grow, a mix of curiosity and unease, as everyone waits to see what Dr. Fulton will do. Darnell's son, Caleb, sits, with his classmates unaware of the standoff, his gold sash catching the sunlight. This moment, this graduation was supposed to be about him. But right now, it's about whether his father will be allowed to stay. Dr. Fulton steps closer to the bleachers, her voice calm but firm. Mr. Hughes, she says, loud enough for the nearby rows to hear. I need to understand what's happening here. Darnell stands slowly, not to challenge, but to meet her eye to eye. "Ma'am, I came to watch my son graduate, that's all." I sat down, kept quiet, and didn't bother anyone, but these two, he nods toward the guards, say my uniforms, making people uncomfortable. The word uncomfortable hangs in the air, sharp and wrong. Dr. Fulton glances at the guards, then back at Darnell. "Is that true?" she asks Langston. He shifts, clutching his clipboard tighter. "We got complaints, ma'am. Some guests said the uniform's too much, drawing attention." Darnell's voice cuts in, low but clear. "I served 20 years. This is how I honor my son. If that's a problem, it's not mine." A few people in the crowd nod, others whisper. A woman in a floral blouse sitting nearby mutters, "He's not hurting anyone." But not everyone agrees. A man in a white polo near the front shakes, his head arms crossed, his phone still in hand from earlier. Across the field, Caleb shifts in his seat, sensing something's off. He can't hear the conversation, but he sees his dad standing, the guards hovering, and the principal's tense posture. His friend Marcus, sitting next to him, leans over. "What's going on with your dad?" Caleb shrugs, but his stomach twists. He knows his dad's not one to back down, but he also knows how people sometimes look at him, how the uniform, the medals, the weight of his service can make folks uneasy, for reasons Caleb's never fully understood. He's proud of his dad, always has been, but he's seen the stares, heard the whispers. Back in 9th grade, when Darnell showed up to a parent-teacher conference in his service uniform, a teacher had asked if he was trying to make a statement. Caleb never forgot how his dad smiled, said, "Just here for my kid," and left it at that. Now, as the ceremony's about to start, Caleb's heart races. He just wants his dad to see him walk. Eli Mendoza leans forward, his voice low but carrying. "Ma'am, I served with Darnell. Ramadi 07, these men," he gestures to the other veterans, "know him too. He's not here to cause trouble. He's here for his boy, same as every parent." Dr. Fulton's eyes soften, but she's still caught, balancing the complaints of a few against the truth standing in front of her. She turns to Langston. "Who exactly complained?" Langston hesitates, glancing at his partner, who looks away. "It was a couple of guests. They didn't give names." Dr. Fulton's brow furrows. "So you're telling me you approached a man based on anonymous complaints?" The crowd's murmurs grow louder. A dad in a Dodgers cap calls out, "Let him stay." A few others clap, but the man in the white polo stands again, voice sharp. "This isn't about service, it's about keeping the focus on the kids. He's making it about him." Eli's head snaps toward him, but Darnell raises a hand, stopping him. "I'm not here to argue," Darnell says, eyes on the principal. "I'm here to watch Caleb. You tell me to leave, I'll leave, but I'm not walking away because someone's uncomfortable with who I am." The tension spikes, like a wire pulled taut. Dr. Fulton looks from Darnell to the crowd, then to the stage where the band's waiting to play. She knows this moment could define the day, not just for Darnell, but for everyone watching. She takes a breath. "Mr. Hughes, I'm sorry this happened. You have every right to be here." She turns to the guards. "We're done here. Let's move on." Langston nods stiffly, and the guards step back, disappearing into the crowd. The bleachers exhale, some clapping softly, others still whispering. Darnell sits, his posture unchanged, but his chest feels lighter. Eli claps him on the shoulder. "Told you, brother, we got you." The other veterans sit too, their silent support still heavy in the air. But the man in the white polo isn't done. He mutters something to the woman next to him, loud enough for nearby rows to hear. "This is a circus now." A teenage girl nearby glares at him. "Maybe you're the one making it a circus," she snaps. The crowd chuckles and the man's face reddens. But the story isn't over. As the band starts tuning up, a new figure emerges from the stage, Mrs. Taryn Witt, school board member, known for her loud opinions and pearl-clasped blouses. She's been watching from the sidelines, and now she's striding toward the microphone, her heels clicking with purpose. The crowd quiets again, sensing trouble. Dr. Fulton tries to intercept her, but Taryn's already at the mic. "Excuse me," she says, her voice sharp over the speakers. "I think we need to address this. This ceremony is for the students, not for displays." She doesn't look at Darnell, but everyone knows who she means. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. Caleb in his seat clenches his fists, his face hot. He wants to stand, to say something, but he's frozen, caught between pride and fear of what's coming. Darnell doesn't move, but his eyes narrow. Eli starts to rise, but Wes, the SEAL, from Fallujah, puts a hand on his arm. "Let it play out," he whispers. Dr. Fulton steps forward, her voice steady. "Mrs. Witt, this isn't the time." But Taryn keeps going. "I'm saying what others are thinking. This isn't a military event. It's a high school graduation." The crowd splits. Some nod in agreement, others shake their heads. A mom in the fourth row stands, glasses glinting. "He's a father here for his son. Let it go." More voices join, a mix of support and frustration. The veterans stand again. Not aggressive, just present, their silence louder than Taryn's words. Darnell feels the weight of it all, the eyes, the judgment, the support. He thinks of Caleb, of the promise he made to be there no matter what. He thinks of the men he buried, the medals pinned with pain. He's not leaving. Not now. Not ever. Dr. Fulton raises a hand, her voice cutting through. "Enough. This is about our graduates. Mr. Hughes stays." The crowd claps louder this time, but Taryn's face tightens. She's not backing down, and as she opens her mouth again, the band strikes its first note, signaling the start of the ceremony. Caleb's name is close now, but the air's electric with unresolved tension. Will Taryn push further? Will the crowd turn? And will Darnell finally get his moment to see his son shine? The first note from the band cuts through the tension like a blade, sharp and sudden, signaling the start of the Roosevelt High graduation. The crowd's murmurs fade, but the air still crackles with the weight of what's just happened. Misses. Taryn Witt stands frozen at the microphone, her pearl-clasped blouse catching the sunlight, her mouth half open with words she can't quite get out. Dr. Meredith Fulton, the principal, steps in front of her, voice steady over the speakers. "Let's begin," she says, her tone leaving no room for argument. Taryn hesitates, her face tight, but the band's music swells and the moment slips from her grasp. She steps back, lips pursed, and returns to her seat on the stage. Darnell Hughes sits in the bleachers, his marine dress blues unmoving, his eyes locked on the student rows where his son Caleb waits. Eli Mendoza behind him leans back, a faint smirk on his face. The other veterans, Wes, Desmond, Chaz, Leo, and Omar, settle into their seats, their silent presence still heavy, like anchors holding the moment steady. The crowd's attention shifts to the stage, but you can feel it. This isn't over yet. Not quite. Caleb, in his gold-sashed gown, glances at his dad, his heart pounding. He's proud, but he's nervous, not for himself, but for what might still come. The announcer starts the roll call, names ringing out over the loudspeakers. The sun beats down harder, the smell of sunscreen and grass thick in the air. Darnell's hands rest on his knees, gloved fingers steady, but inside his chest is tight. He's been through worse. Desert firefights, flag-draped coffins, nights wondering if he'd make it home to Caleb. But this moment, feels bigger. It's the one he's waited for, the one he promised his son he'd be here for no matter what. The crowd claps for each graduate, some louder than others, but Darnell's focus is singular. He scans the stage, waiting for Caleb's name. The man in the white polo, the one who called this a circus, is quiet now, his arms still crossed but his earlier bravado gone. The teenage girl who snapped at him earlier whispers to her mom. He's not saying anything now. The mom nods, her eyes flicking to Darnell with something like respect. Across the field, Caleb's friend Marcus nudges him. "Your dad's a badass," he whispers. Caleb doesn't smile, but his shoulders relax. He knows. The roll call moves, faster now, names blurring together. Darnell feels the anticipation building, his heartbeat steady but loud in his ears. He thinks back to the mornings he missed. School plays, science fairs, moments stolen by deployments. He thinks of the nights Caleb stayed up, building robots from scrap, teaching himself code while Darnell was half a world away. This is their moment, his and Caleb's, and no one's taking it. Not security, not Taryn Witt, not whispered complaints. But then, just as the announcer reaches the H's, Taryn stands again, her heels clicking as she moves toward the microphone. The crowd groans softly, sensing another interruption. Dr. Fulton's face tightens, but before she can stop her, Taryn speaks, her voice sharp but shaking. I just want to say, this ceremony is for our students. We need to keep it that way. The words land like a stone in still water, rippling out. A few people nod, but more shake their heads. Caleb's fists clench, his face hot. He wants to stand, to shout, but he stays put, his eyes on his dad. Darnell doesn't move. He doesn't need to. Eli starts to rise, but Wes, the SEAL, grabs his arm again. She's digging her own grave, he mutters, and he's right. Before Taryn can say more, a voice rings out from the bleachers, not loud, but clear. It's the woman in the floral blouse, glasses glinting. Ma'am, with all due respect, you're the one making this about something else. Let the man watch, his son. The crowd erupts in applause, not wild but firm, undeniable. A dad in a Dodgers cap stands, clapping louder. The teenage girl joins in, then her mom, then others. Taryn's face flushes and she sits down, her hands gripping her program. Dr. Fulton steps to the mic, her voice calm but final. This is a day for our graduates and their families, all their families. Let's celebrate them. The applause grows, and for the first time, Darnell allows himself a small nod, his eyes still on the stage. Eli leans forward. They're learning, he whispers. Darnell doesn't reply, but his lips twitch, almost a smile. The announcer clears his throat and the roll call resumes. Caleb Hughes. The name hits like a thunderclap. Darnell stands, not to make a scene, but because some moments demand your full height. Caleb rises from his seat, his robe flowing, his steps sure. He crosses the stage, shoulders back, chin high, and shakes Dr. Fulton's hand as she hands him his diploma. Their eyes meet, and she gives him a nod. A real one, not just for show. Caleb turns to the crowd, searching for his dad. When their eyes lock, it's like the world shrinks, just a father and son. No guards, no complaints, no interruptions. Caleb gives a small nod, subtle but strong. A thank you that carries years of unspoken words. Darnell returns it, his hand resting over his medals, the ones pinned with pain and pride. The crowd claps, not just for Caleb, but for what this moment means. Eli claps once, then twice. The veterans follow, their hands steady, deliberate. The applause spreads, lingering, not loud but deep, like a heartbeat. Caleb steps off the stage, glancing at his dad one last time before returning to his seat. Darnell sits, the weight of the moment settling over him, heavy but warm. The ceremony continues, but the tension's gone, replaced by something stronger. Respect, earned and undeniable. The man in the white polo stays quiet, his phone tucked away. Taryn Witt doesn't stand again. The veterans exchange glances, no words needed. They came for Darnell, for Caleb, for a brother they'd never leave behind. In the fourth row, the woman in the floral blouse whispers to her son, "That's what it means to show up?" Her son nods, watching Darnell, who's back to sitting quietly, his eyes still on Caleb. As the last names are called and the caps fly into the air, the crowd cheers, a mix of joy and relief. Darnell doesn't throw his hands up or shout. He just watches Caleb, his son, laughing with his friends, diploma in hand. That's enough. More than enough. Later, as families spill onto the field for photos, Eli claps Darnell's shoulder. "You good, brother?" Darnell nods. "Always." Caleb runs over, his grin wide. "Dad, you made it." Darnell pulls him into a hug, careful not to wrinkle the gown. "Told you I would." The veterans gather around, shaking Caleb's hand, joking about his burnt toast. The crowd moves on, but the story lingers, not in the uniform, not in the confrontation, but in the quiet strength of a father who refused to be moved and the people who stood with him. This is what respect looks like: showing up, staying put, and honoring the moments that matter. Share this story. Talk about it. And when it's your turn, stand tall, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to leave.